Street, Westfield, New Jersey. The purpose of this meeting is to transact the regular business of the board and to transact any other business to come properly before the board. This is to advise the general public and to instruct that it be recorded in the minutes that in compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, entitled the Open Public Meetings Act, the Westfield School Board on Thursday, June 7, 2018, caused to be posted at the office of the Board of Education located at 302 Elm Street, Westfield, New Jersey, and delivered to the Westfield Leader, the Star Ledger, the Westfield Library, Town Clerk of Westfield, Tap into Westfield, and Patch.com, a meeting notice setting forth the time, date, and location of this meeting. Dana, can we have a roll call, please?
Lynn Benner.
Here.
Mike Phelan. Kent Diamond. Brendan Galligan.
Here.
Robert Garrison.
Here.
Gretchen Oley.
Here.
Peggy Astor. Charles Ostroff. Amy Root.
Here. Brendan, could you lead us in the flags?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight is one of my favorite nights of our year. There are a few. And that is because tonight we get to honor the 5 high school teachers and the 1 support staff member who have been selected for special recognition for the enthusiasm, caring, and dedication that they show to our students and staff every day, and actually 2 intermediate school and 3 high school. So on behalf of the board, I am pleased to present each of you with a resolution attesting to your commitment and devotion, and I thank you for taking time out tonight and letting us recognize you and all you do for our district. So when I call your name, please come to the podium, stand here awkwardly beside me while I read the resolution, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to start with the Optimist Club's Intermediate School Outstanding Teacher Award, and we'll start with Edison. Michelle Bells. So Michelle, it is my honor to present you with this resolution from the Board of Education that says, whereas the Optimist Club of Westfield, a supporter of schools and children in the community for many years, has established an annual award for outstanding teaching in the intermediate schools. And whereas this award is a fitting tribute to the importance of teaching in the intermediate grades and the nobility of the teaching profession. And whereas Michelle Bells, who began her career in Westfield in 1999 and continues today as a special education teacher at Edison Intermediate School, has been awarded the 21st Annual Intermediate School Outstanding Teacher Award for outstanding teaching, interest in children, and continued pursuit of professional growth. And whereas the nominations received on behalf of Michelle Bells expressed appreciation for her dedication, empathy, selfless attitude, and for being a true professional with her students' best interests at heart. Now therefore be it resolved that this Board of Education publicly expresses appreciation to the Optimist Club of Westfield for establishing this award, and that this Board of Education sincerely congratulates Michelle Bells, representing Edison Intermediate School, for achieving the 2018 Outstanding Teacher Award, a significant honor and a notable accomplishment. And that this resolution be presented to Michelle Bells on June 12, 2018, and that a copy of this formal resolution becomes a part of the permanent records of the Westfield, New Jersey Board of Education. Congratulations. No? Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody. The morning that Dr. Bowen announced that I had won this award, I was thrilled, and then immediately nervous about the speech I would be giving in front of so many respected members of the school community and my family. I began to think about what it means to be in education. I can only speculate that in certain jobs one takes after college, it remains relatively static over the years. Perhaps bankers or chefs or dentists have similar outlooks on their respective careers over the course of their professional lives. As I considered a theme for this speech, it occurred to me that the nature of teaching involves evolution over time, and that dynamic nature of the job makes it more and more meaningful at every stage. I'm not referring to the evolution of the job description itself. I'm talking about perspective and how the course of our own lives shift who we are in the classroom. To prepare to speak to you tonight, I thought about who I am as a teacher. And that's when I realized I personally have gone through different stages, and therefore the lens through which I view my job has likewise changed. I think many of us have experienced similar evolutions, so I thought I would share my thoughts with you on this tonight. The first years of teaching are all about proving you can do a good job and keeping your head above water with the many demands of a brand new career. They involve consistent late nights, careful planning of exciting ideas, and attention to detail with all the requirements expected of a new professional. The effect that this determination to succeed has on students is immeasurable. Kids enjoy the vitality brought to the classroom by a young, energetic, motivated adult. As the years go by, you are still carefully planning in the classroom, but it comes a little more naturally, and by now you've taken on multiple other roles in the community: tutor, advisor, coach. You begin to not only be a teacher, but a mentor and a trusted adult to many kids. In these roles, you foster relationships that last beyond the student's time in middle school. You keep in touch, maybe give career advice, and possibly even attend the wedding of former students and athletes. Eventually, you have children of your own. It's a thrilling time, but now your priorities are split between home and work. Suddenly, you feel an overwhelming need to make sure you're doing everything right by your students, because now, as a parent, you realize how important it is for a child to get everything they possibly can from their education. You know you would be devastated if your own child wasn't provided with all the available resources to succeed. Later, your own children are school age, and with that stage of your career comes new wisdom, as well as compassion. Because you've been in the classroom for years, you are very appreciative of your own children's teachers who foster their success and confidence. I'm sorry to say, hyper aware of those that do the opposite. You learn about your own practices from your children's experiences. Suddenly, an email to a parent about their child who is having difficulty needs to be a little more carefully worded, because you know that a parent's happiness is completely dependent on their child's well-being. And the next stage, the one I'm currently in, is the baseball cheer mom stage. Now you will tell anyone who will listen about your son being asked to join the all-star team or your daughter landing her back top. And all of a sudden, you're the crazy, overscheduled family that the former teacher you swore you would never become. But this, too, has benefits in the classroom. School is still very important, but you begin to see the whole child. You realize that each student, whatever their interests, baseball, cheerleading, music, playing Fortnite, is more than the student you see for 40 minutes a day. And that other side of the child, whether he or she is an athlete, a musician, a volunteer, or anything else, is actually really important. When students realize you can appreciate who they are as a person, not just how well they master the curriculum, they're more open to participating in the classroom. And now, hovering somewhere around the midpoint of my career, I know there will be a number of other stages that I will personally go through, which will continue to shape the lens through which I view teaching. The goal of education, that students are engaged and given the tools to become their best selves, remains steady over the years. However, experience teaches us that as educators, we are lifelong learners, and to be the best teachers we can be, we need to embrace who we are personally at every stage of our careers. As our own perspective evolves, we need to use that insight to reach and understand our students. Receiving this award is one more experience that will have a profound effect on who I am in the classroom. It is an honor and a powerful reminder that after so many years of teaching, my actions can still have an impact on the lives of middle schoolers, and that my daily interactions with them are truly meaningful. So again, I thank you for this and for providing me with that humbling and amazing perspective.
Dr. Bolton?
Yes.
Come up and say a few words.
I sure would. Okay, so usually this goes first, but it's okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Someday I'll be good.
So first, I would like to thank the Board of Education, Dr. Dolan, of course, and the Optimist Club of Westfield for annually recognizing our intermediate school teachers. It's an incredible job, it's an important job, and it's a valuable award and recognition that our teachers truly do look forward to every year. So this is also my favorite meeting. So many middle school students need a point person or a go-to teacher. They need a teacher they can count on day in and day out, a special person who they have established a connection with. They need a teacher who they will know, who will be there for extra help early in the morning, who will stay after the bell to get them organized or help ensure that a homework assignment is properly recorded. Each student needs a teacher who they just feel comfortable with. A person who they know won't judge their silly, sometimes daily mistakes, or get overly worked up over careless errors. They need a person who possesses a rare form of patience and a special ethic of care. They need a person who just listens. For so many middle school students, Michelle Bell has been and continues to be that person, that special teacher. And if that weren't enough for what she does for her students, she's also that special person for many of her colleagues. She is the person that teachers want to co-teach with. She's a true model of professionalism, collaboration, and flexibility. Flexibility was really important this year when we had a number of lead replacements, and we had to make some changes in the special education schedule and fill in some holes. And Michelle not only generously and willingly offered up her services, but to fill in that hole for a colleague on leave, but also was willing to fill in that hole in a separate subject that we didn't even know she was certified in. So I don't know, I can't believe you came down and told us that you were certified in math, but it was great. I'm so glad you did. It really, really solved a big problem, so thank you. But yes, flexibility. So in any event, I'm honored that Michelle is our Edison School Optimist Club Intermediate School Teacher of the Year. She is truly an outstanding teacher. Thank you.
I'll switch things around this time. So at this point, I would like to ask the other Optimist Club Intermediate School Outstanding Teacher of the Year, Dominic Cessio, to join me at the podium. And Mrs. Fendis, would you like to come?
I'd like to.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Dolan, Ms. Oleg, and the Board of Education for the opportunity to share a few words about Mr. Dominic Cessio. This is a very well-deserved recognition. Mr. Cessio is truly an exceptional educator. In his position as a special education teacher, his diverse responsibilities require him to take on many roles. Special education teachers at the middle level often teach multiple grade levels, multiple subjects, and in many different settings. In Mr. Cessio's social studies, science, and math classes, he is a model of effective co-teaching with extensive content knowledge and an ability to make the content approachable for all of his students. He guides students to reach their fullest potential and ensures that they are challenged to always do their best. His caring nature and sense of humor allow him to make connections with all of his students. In the many parent meetings he has, Mr. Cessio always shows compassion and understanding, and he is truly an advocate for all of his children. Not only is Mr. Cessio a model in the classroom, but a professional in every sense of the word. While he is not one to take center stage, and this is tough, he quietly works to make the Roosevelt School and Westfield School District a better place. In his time at Roosevelt, he has been the co-advisor to Girls Learn International, mentored TR scholars, served as team leader, chaperoned numerous events and activities, and just last month was the main organizer of our trip for 274 of our 7th grade students to the Liberty Science Center. It was quite a feat. He has been an asset to the district in his roles in the district's Instructional Council Committee and has served in many roles in the Westfield Education Association. As a senior member in the department, you have influenced the careers of many of his colleagues through his formal and informal mentorship. I'm very grateful to the Optimist Club for their recognition of quality instruction at the intermediate level. And Mr. Cessio, you are well deserving of this award.
Bear with me while I read this.
Yes.
Is that okay, Matt? I can read this and then you can
That's fine.
Okay, just make sure.
Be flexible.
So, a resolution from the Board of Education to Dominic Cessio, Intermediate School Teacher of the Year 2017 to 18. So whereas the Optimist Club of Westfield, a supporter of schools and children in the community for many years, has established an annual award for the outstanding teaching in intermediate schools. And whereas this award is a fitting tribute to the importance of teaching in the intermediate grades and the nobility of the teaching profession. And whereas Dominic Cessio, who began his career in Westfield in 1996, and continues today as a special education teacher at Roosevelt Intermediate School, has been awarded the 21st Annual Intermediate School Outstanding Teacher Award for outstanding teaching, interest in children, and continued pursuit of professional growth. And whereas the nominations received on behalf of Dominic Cessio expressed appreciation for his understanding nature, nurturing demeanor, and for helping children of all abilities make connections that lead to knowledge, self-confidence, and self-worth. Now therefore be it resolved that this Board of Education publicly expresses appreciation to the Optimist Club of Westfield for establishing this award, and that this Board of Education sincerely congratulates Dominic Cessio, representing Roosevelt Intermediate School, for receiving the 2018 Outstanding Teacher Award, a significant honor and a notable accomplishment. And that this resolution be presented to Dominic Cessio on June 12, 2018, and that a copy of this formal resolution becomes a part of the permanent records of the Westfield, New Jersey Board of Education. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, Gretchen. I'm feeling incredibly thankful and grateful, so I thought I would center my speech on thank yous. What better way to do it? Thank you, Mary. You're a wonderful leader. I would also like to thank all of the other administrators I've worked with throughout the years and have been inspired by. Dr. Dolan, Barbara Ball, Stu Carey, Andrea Lowe, and all of the other department supervisors, Ted Kozlik, Michael Weissman, Brian Geckman, Ken Shulak, and Dr. Bolton. And I believe I see Paul Pinero here somewhere. Thank you, Paul. I'd also like to thank the Optimist Club of Westfield for this award. In so many ways, they do what educators do by helping kids and the community. So I really appreciate the Optimist Club. Next, I'd like to thank the board, the parents, and the community at large. They simply support teachers and what they do in so many different ways. I've been here for 22 years, and I can attest to the fact that this town is just a special place to work. It's really never a surprise when a new hire arrives at Westfield, and usually right after their first day, they'll come up to a veteran staff, and just you can see the look of amazement on their faces, and they're just it's just such a wonderful place to work, and you just see it right away, immediately. And of course, to my colleagues. As a special education teacher, I've had the opportunity to work in so many different classrooms. It's one of the perks of the jobs. And I've been so fortunate in that they've always been so welcoming and have run truly inclusive classrooms that really meet the needs of all of the kids. Teachers really pride themselves on that. I really couldn't ask for more. My colleagues, they give me really no choice but to show up every day and bring my A game. I'm so thankful to them as well. And then finally, my family, my wife and my two boys, they've always been there for me, supported me through thick and thin. And then finally, to my mother, who taught me empathy, and that I'll try and hold on here, and that the path to leading a fulfilling life is about helping others. My mom taught me that, and I'm truly grateful for that as well. So thank you all very much. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. So now we're going to take the time to move on to the 3 teachers and 1 staff member at the Westfield High School who were honored by the Westfield High School community with awards of excellence. And they are social studies teacher Brett Curtis, English journalism teacher Warren Hines, mathematics teacher Anthony Myers, and custodian Marina Rogel. Before I have you guys come up individually, maybe I'll ask Dr. Nelson if he would like to come up and say a few words.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Dolan, Ms. Oleg, and the entire Board of Education for giving me a moment to talk about 4 wonderful Westfield High School staff members. When I think about these individuals, I can't help but think of their individual talents and how every day they work to make kids' lives better, period. Whether it's working with the kids after school to help develop their journalistic eye, making students feel like social studies is the most important subject ever, instilling faith in the student that they can do math and be good at it, or talking and laughing with students during their lunch period. Marina Rogel, Brett Curtis, Anthony Myers, and Warren Hines, you have left a lasting impression on kids and fellow staff members, and you do it consistently on a daily basis. When I think of the descriptors of people I want to work with, many of the traits that were used to describe these 4 individuals come to mind. Dedicated, cares about all kids, kind, knowledgeable, and made me a better person. That's why we honor you tonight. So again, congratulations on your awards, and thank you for being such great people and doing what you do for Westfield High School every single day. Thank you.
Mr. Curtis. So there's some repetition to these resolutions, but there's a lot of good meat in them too. So if you'll bear with me through some of the repetitive start. So I'm proud to present this resolution from the Board of Education to Brett Curtis. Whereas the Westfield High School PTSO Outstanding Teacher of the Year Award has been established to annually recognize a teacher who is encouraging and motivating, is a good role model, and shows respect for coworkers, students, and parents. And whereas this award is presented to Brett Curtis, a dedicated and caring social studies teacher at Westfield High School, who is described by those who nominated him as an inspired and inspiring educator with a passion for history and teaching. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this Board of Education publicly congratulates Brett Curtis for receiving the 2018 PTSO Outstanding Teacher of the Year Award, a significant honor and a notable accomplishment. And that this resolution be presented to Brett Curtis on June 12th, 2018, and that a copy of this formal resolution becomes a part of the permanent record of the Westfield, New Jersey Board of Education. Congratulations. Every once in a while, I get to inject something personal, and I can attest not only to his outstanding ability as a history teacher, but I was lucky to watch from the bleachers this year as Mr. Curtis wrangled a group of 14-year-old freshman basketball players. And I have to say, not only did they have fun, but you were an incredible role model for them. So thank you personally from my family and from the school district for all that you do.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
First off, very humbled to get this award. I want to thank the board, obviously, all that you guys do to really instill a really great culture here in Westfield. And I've only been here, this is my 5th year teaching here, but it's a dream job, and it really sets up, you guys set that up well for us, for me to succeed. I want to thank my family who's here for supporting me throughout the whole way. Allowing me to do what I do. And, you know, overall, I want to thank, you know, the parents and most of all the students. I think the great thing about this award, how they do it at the high school, is that the students are able to vote for it. So kind of hearing the stuff that they had to say about me is really humbling, and it kind of drives me to be better and even do more and to continue to do the same that I'm doing here to help the kids learn every day and be better people. So I just wanted to thank the Westfield board and the community for this award. It's very humbling. Thank you.
We're going to force you to come back up in a few minutes. Mr. Hines. Good to see you. So I'm very happy to present you with this resolution from the Board of Education to Mr. Warren Hines. Whereas the Distinguished Teacher of the Year Award has been established to annually recognize a teacher who, through both excellence in teaching and a demonstrated commitment to intellectual pursuits beyond the classroom, serves as a model and inspiration to the high school community to strive towards excellence. And whereas this award is presented to Warren Hines, a dedicated English and journalism teacher at Westfield High School, who is praised for his willingness to go above and beyond to care and provide assistance to all students, and for expanding the minds of his students as writers by encouraging them to write about topics they believe in. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this Board of Education publicly congratulates Warren Hines for receiving the 2018 Distinguished Teacher of the Year Award, a significant honor and a notable accomplishment, and that this resolution be presented to Warren Hines on June 12, 2018, and a copy of this formal resolution becomes a part of the permanent records of Westfield, New Jersey Board of Education. Congratulations.
Thank you so much to the board and to all of Westfield High School for this honor. It's important, though, to note that as teachers, we know that it's entirely possible that in our careers we will not get such an honor. There are so many great teachers, and not everyone can be honored all the time. We do this because it's sort of a leap of faith in the hope that down the line we will hear from some of our students and know that we did make a difference. And we're fortunate enough when we have that opportunity to hear that from our students. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that in our district's mission statement, and when that third line talks about helping students become productive, well-balanced, and responsible citizens, I've found that that can happen so much more when students are able to take ownership over their own learning and their own growth. And I've been so fortunate in the last few years to work with some of our programs, such as the Transition Project, which helps students serve as mentors to freshmen in our school, as well as working with the Community Service Club, which I could talk all night about, with all of the ways in which we find students who want to go so far beyond what would be required for, say, a college application to look good. They go so far beyond that because they want to help other people. And lastly, the school newspaper, which I think is one of the crown jewels of this district, and it is so because of the work that our students put into it. And watching students experience that feeling of fulfillment for work that they have taken on themselves and that they have taken leadership over is really about as great a feeling as you can have as an educator. So I feel blessed to be a part of that, and thank you for this honor.
I always like to give a shout out to my fellow Tar Heel too. I can't help it. Mr. Myers. So I'd like to present you with this resolution from the Board of Education to Anthony Myers. Whereas the Westfield High School Above and Beyond Award has been established to annually recognize a teacher or counselor who has truly made a difference in the life of a struggling child, either socially, emotionally, or academically. And whereas this award is presented to Anthony Myers, a dedicated math teacher at Westfield High School, who is lauded not only for his energy and effective teaching strategies in the classroom, but for his empathy and kindness as well. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this Board of Education publicly congratulates Anthony Myers for receiving the 2018 Westfield High School Above and Beyond Award, a significant honor and a notable accomplishment, and that this resolution be presented to Anthony Myers on June 12, 2018, and that a copy of this formal resolution becomes a part of the permanent records of the Westfield, New Jersey Board of Education. Congratulations.
Good evening. I want to start by at least thanking Dr. Dolan and the Board of Education for recognizing me on this evening. Also wanted to thank the family that sponsors this award. The students at Westfield High School are amazing and terrific. I look forward to every day coming in, working with them before school, after school, during an off period, perhaps even a lunch period, just giving them as much time as I can to make them feel successful, create a learning environment in the classroom where they feel safe learning and that they can learn and be happy with. And I try and do that every day, sometimes with a laugh or hello or a greeting at the door. I'd like to thank Dr. Nelson also for those kind words you shared earlier, as well as some of the people I work with, such an amazing math department, as well as the supervisor and Dr. Keycheck. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. Rogel. So I'd like to present you with this resolution on behalf of the board. Whereas the Robert and Linda Foos Memorial Award has been established to annually recognize a member of the Westfield High School staff for excellence in education. And whereas this award, whose namesakes were a former principal of Westfield High School and a former teacher, has been conferred upon Marina Rogel. And whereas Marina Rogel, a custodian at Westfield High School, is a dedicated member of the support staff and is commended by those who nominated her for going out of her way to get to know the students and for going above and beyond all of her responsibilities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this Board of Education publicly congratulates Marina Rogel for receiving the 2018 Robert and Linda Foos Memorial Award, a significant honor and a notable accomplishment, and that this resolution be presented to Marina Rogel on June 12, 2018, and that a copy of this formal resolution becomes a part of the permanent records of the Westfield, New Jersey Board of Education. Congratulations.
Thank you, the board. Thank you, Mr. Derek. Thank you, Mr. Wagner, for giving me the opportunity to work in the high school. I love the kids. I love my job. Say thank you so much.
Thank you. So if the four of you wouldn't mind coming back up with Dr. Nelson, I think Marianne would like to get a picture before you go. So it was our hope also tonight to be able to recognize Roosevelt Language Arts and Journalism teacher Matthew Califat. We'd hoped that he'd join us so that we could present him with the prestigious Carnegie Medal for heroism for his rescue of an unconscious woman who was drowning at Point Pleasant Beach in September 2016. Unfortunately, prior commitments have prevented him from being here tonight, but Dr. Dolan will visit him in his classroom tomorrow to present the Carnegie Medal. Before we take a short break, I want to thank the Westfield High School PTSO for providing refreshments. And also, just one of my favorite things about this district is the way you guys support each other. And I love seeing a packed room. And so you're not only here, those of you who are receiving the awards, but it's clear that this community really cares about each other. So thank you for joining us tonight, letting us honor you, and enjoy the refreshments.
Yeah. One of those days.
I know, right? Mr. Hines, are you coming to next week's meeting too? Or? Okay. Understood.
I left my dentist pen.
Calling me out?
I use that one at work and it does like this. Well, my kids have to go there in a couple weeks. I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah, my team is getting together. I made it for my college and it turns out my younger son doesn't have an exam. And I said, why do you go through?
Oh, I definitely have pair them out. 8 o'clock in the morning, they drop them off at school afterwards.
Even if the
Oh, that's just better.
swan in at the end, they didn't need to be paid for.
Yeah, it's fun. So where were you headed so early the other day, Peg? I saw you. Oh, you had here?
Every Monday morning.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was only yesterday, wasn't it? I think it was only 2-3 days ago.
I feel like it's Thursday.
Yeah,
I
it does.
am-
It has that feel to it.
Yeah, I don't know why it is, but, well, you have a nice easy commute to
Oh,
school.
it's the best. I was probably the
It's just
number
a few
one,
late
still the
reading this
number one.
Totally.
Because I my wife from every other week now.
Next week will be
She's
too.
been there for almost 13 years.
Is that how long you've been there?
Yeah, 12 and a half.
So your neighbor's house sold recently though, didn't it?
Yes, so Bob and Angela, if your back is to our front door, to our left, they sold about a year ago. They were there for 42 years.
Oh, really?
And what's funny is one of the areas where I grew up in North, they lived a block and a half from me.
Oh, really?
Back in 77, right before they moved to Westfield.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. They were there for so long.
It's been fun to pull together too. It's a lot of work and transport
They
to
went
pull
to
together.
our condo,
June months are big.
Livingston. We're just right on the Livingston and West Orange.
Yeah, we saw that.
Well, it's good that
We saw
they
that.
mustn't have people here, because that's going a good different deal with. They must not have family here.
No,
Right.
no.
She feels a bit overwhelmed
Because
right
to
now.
get up and move out of where you're comfortable and what you know.
It's a week
She
from
taught
Friday,
for a long
but
time in New York, and then she was on.
there's a lot of
she was,
admin type stuff to do. They gotta close up the
administration.
classroom. She still has to grade the
Actually, she
finals.
just
They get
sort
final
of
grades
finally
in.
retired after doing consulting for
Six.
part-time for a
Six.
number of
Math,
years. She
yeah.
was there
And they do finals.
probably
and,
40
There's like an
plus
8-page
years.
final.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I don't think she could do it scan
They were great
train.
neighbors.
Our neighbors are good as well.
But it's hard when we lived on Lawrence Avenue, my husband and I bought it when we were just married, so we were in our early 20s. And that Labor Day,
grade are you
our
again? I
neighbors
forgot.
invited us over for a Labor Day barbecue. And I said to him, we've got to go, we've got to go. We're going to go meet the neighbors. Well, that neighborhood, we were the youngest in the neighborhood, probably by about 30 or 40 years. But when they all left,
10 minutes of sitting.
it took away a level of the
Monday
neighborhood
is
that I
my
liked
last
my
day
kids
of
to know that not everybody was young and so forth.
Yeah, Maya misses them all the time.
So it's a different. It's sort of like having these people who watch over you.
Yeah, for sure.
So it is a tough. So
Is Pup okay?
what?
Is Puppy okay?
Yeah, she's not having a good day. I'm afraid I carried her down the stairs this morning and I hurt her, so now I'm feeling guilty. I mean, nobody really tells you what to do with them. And I just feel like if I cut her leg off, she's just not going to be.
If you do that, you still have to have like therapy.
And they don't, I didn't even have all the tests done because she goes crazy when she goes to the vet. And I feel like it's just not, then she injures it sort of, and if she breaks it, they have to do something about it.
But that's from the custodian who turned high school.
So everybody here was for the teachers.
Yes.
Stamp with your signature.
They have one.
have one I use for PDF, so I don't print out new stuff.
I have one that I use at the office for letters.
Just the electronic stamp and email it right back.
Yep.
And these teachers were on awards too.
The high school teachers.
There's two math teachers. Who's the teacher?
Michelle Bells, she's a special ed teacher.
How are you?
I'm all right, yourself? Okay.
Living the dream.
Another easy day?
Oh, yeah. It's all good.
No, really, I can't.
All right. All set? Okay, then we will move forward with the business part of tonight's meeting. Are there any additional announcements? Lynn, I'll start with you.
Yes, I have two actually. Westfield High School freshman members of the Westfield debate team, Mira Mehta and Kaylee Zhao, were recent quarterfinalists at the 43rd University of Pennsylvania tournament and semifinalists at the state championship of the New Jersey Speech and Debate League. The Westfield debate team is a partnership of the Westfield Public School District, the Westfield Parent Teacher Council Gifted Education Committee, and the Westfield Area YMCA. The team consists of 24 members from Westfield High School and Edison and Roosevelt Intermediate Schools. Past debate topics have included the repeal of the capital gains tax, authorization of military force, and whether college athletes should be paid. I just wanted to give a personal shout out to the Edison course director and the orchestra director. They did a great job at their most recent spring concert. It looks and sounds amazing in their new auditorium.
Thank you. Michael, any announcements?
Yes, I have one here. The Student Government Association at Edison Intermediate School recently conducted Patriot Donation 2018 for the Menlo Park Veterans Memorial Home, collecting nearly 500 toiletry items for the veterans. Special thanks to the SGA advisor, Andrew Cusimano, and all who contributed. Great job.
Thank you. Brendan.
Yes, I have two. The first, Franklin Elementary School staff members teamed up on May 29th, playing a charity volleyball game to raise money for a scholarship in honor of a former student, Jake Tooley. Through ticket sales, concessions, raffles, and donations, the best of three series held at the Westfield High School Gymnasium raised $5,807 to go to the Jake Tooley Scholarship Fund. The event was organized by the fifth grade teacher, Daria Gerber. Jake's mother and brother attended and helped flip the coin to decide which team served first. And as a reminder, the deadline for Westfield residents interested in considering a 3-year term on the Board of Education is July 30th at 4 p.m., when nominating petitions are due at the county clerk's office in Elizabeth. The 3 board members whose terms are expiring are Robert Garrison, Gretchen Olig, and Charles Ostroff. More information on the board election process can be found under the Board of Education section on the district website.
Thank you. Kent.
Yes, I have one. 22 retiring staff members were honored by the Board of Education and by colleagues and guests at the 31st Annual End-of-the-Year Gala for school employees on May 31st. The event also paid tribute to employees with 25 years of service. We thank our employees for their dedication to continuing Westfield's tradition of excellence.
Thank you. Amy.
Yes, I have an update on 2 teams from McKinley and Wilson Elementary Schools who competed in the World Finals tournament of the Odyssey of the Mind. an international educational program that provides creative problem-solving opportunities for students. The tournament was held last month in Ames, Iowa, with approximately 50 of the best teams from across the globe competing. The Wilson School team placed 5th in the World Finals, with team members as follows: Emma Krall, grade 3, Ted Krall, grade 5, Michael Fisher from grade 5 at Franklin School, Jake Park, grade 5, Logan Partridge, grade 3, Neil Shastry, grade 5, and Chloe Yu, a 5th grader from Tamaulipas. And the Wilson team coaches were Hillary Krall and Steve Yu. And the McKinley team placed 19th in the World Finals with team members as follows: Christian Bonapane, grade 4, Colin First, grade 3, James First, grade 5, Grace Mattis, grade 4, Lincoln Myers, grade 5, Madeline Smith, grade 4, and Logan Welsh, grade 4. And the McKinley team coaches were Kara First and Suzanne Welsh. So congratulations, and thanks for representing the district.
Rob.
I'm not sure if I can follow that. Congratulations to K through 12 Social Studies Supervisor Andrea Brennan and Westfield High School Social Studies teachers Hillary Caskell, Kimberly Legan, and Elizabeth Piombino, who have been selected to give a presentation at the National Council for the Social Studies Annual Conference in Chicago in the fall. This year's conference theme is Yesterday, Tomorrow, Building the Future of Social Studies. The Westfield team's presentation will focus on empowering students to discover and connect their own stories of history through oral narratives and genealogy.
Hey.
I have one. There was dancing in the Westfield Public School District as students held dance marathons to raise money for charitable organization. At McKinley Elementary School, students in grades 1 through 5 danced for 2.5 hours on May 23rd in support of pediatric cancer research, raising a record $14,109.46 at the 7th annual McKinley-thon. This wonderful event was organized by teachers Christina Tulios, Alexandra Urso, and Stephanie Willis. All the proceeds from the dance marathon will benefit the Karen Research Fund, which is named for a former McKinley teacher's daughter who lost her battle with leukemia. Additionally, the school collected $2,287 from its Pennies for Patients campaign, a program offered through the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Congratulations, that's a lot of money. Also, at the high school, on May 11th, as the 2nd annual dance marathon raised more than $6,700 for Children's Specialized Hospital. Hosted by the Westfield High School Community Service Club, this year's dance marathon effort brings the 2-year total raised to more than $12,000. Special thanks to club advisor Warren Hines and all who organized this important event.
And my announcement is that our next Board of Ed meeting will be next Tuesday, June 19th at 7:30 p.m. at 302 Elm Street. It's also our last meeting of this academic year. At that meeting, we're going to recognize a number of students for academic, athletic, and performing arts achievements. A complete agenda of the meeting will be available on this Friday, June 15th, under the board section of the district website. Dr. Dolan, do you have any announcements?
I do not.
So moving on, at this point I would recognize any members of the public for agenda items only. Seeing no one come to the podium, we'll move on. So this is our annual, one of our 2 reorganization meetings of the year, and I would ask that the board recognize or vote on the reorganization resolutions 1 through scrolling, I should have looked beforehand, through 40. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Brendan. I know Dana detailed them in her Friday notes. This is basically the time of year when we pass those resolutions that can allow us to do business for the 18-19 school year. Does anyone have any questions for Dana or any of us? Okay, Dana.
Lynn Benner?
Yes.
Mike Beelan?
Yes.
Kent Diamond?
Yes.
Brendan Galligan?
Yes.
Rob Garrison?
Yes.
Gretchen Olig?
Yes.
Peggy Astor?
Yes.
Amy Root?
Yes.
Thank you. I'd ask the board to approve the minutes of our board meeting held on May 22nd, 2018, and the private minutes of the same date. Can I have a second?
Second.
Brendan, thank you. All in favor? Any abstentions? Go ahead.
Nope, just.
No? Okay, great. Personnel, Peggy.
Okay, I'd like the board to consider items 1 through 47. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Lynn Benner,
Yes.
Mike Beelan,
Yes.
Ken Diamond,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Robert Garrison,
Yes.
Gretchen Olig,
Yes, although I abstained to items 13 and 23.
Amy Root.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, I skipped Peggy Oster. Oh,
Oh, yes.
Okay, moving right along, facilities, we do not have a report. I will elaborate on the facilities use policy that, when it comes up under policies, we still don't have a decision on Kaler Field. My understanding is that the hearing went very well on Thursday, and that the appellate court understands the emergent nature, so hopefully very soon. As soon as we do, of course, we'll make an announcement. Long-range planning, Amy.
Nothing to report at this point. We're having our last meeting of the year next Tuesday before we have our board meeting.
Great.
We're meeting at 6 or
Hopefully to
6:30.
set some district goals, right,
Yes.
for the 18-19 year.
Yes, let's do that.
Excellent.
Yes.
Policies, Brendan.
Yes. I ask the board to approve policy item number 1.
Second.
Thank you, Kent. This is policy 5430, class rank, 5431, high school grade point average, 5450, athletic awards, 5460, high school graduation, 5561, physical restraint and seclusion techniques for pupils with disabilities, and 7510, use of school facilities.
Yeah, so I just would like to sort of elaborate on the long history of the use of school facilities policy. So the genesis of the revision of that policy was, I think it may have even been 2 years now, where we sort of realized on a facilities level that there was an inconsistent application of how third-party users were using our properties. And so there was an effort by the facilities committee to sort of survey what other districts did in terms of charging outside users. We then revised the policy. We then shared it with outside users who then wanted to meet with us. We met with them in sort of small groups and in some cases individually, like with the Westfield Area Y. Revised the policy again based on the feedback that we got there. We then sent it to the policy committee, who I think had some additional input.
We chopped it up and sent it back to facilities.
Right, and then it came back. So anyway, we are here after many meetings and conversations about the use of school facilities. I think that the final policy, I think a couple things. I think number one, this is a policy that will probably need to be revisited often and frequently. And I do think that it reflects that the board's interest in being a good member of the community, a good neighbor, and certainly wanting to make the space that we have, the unique space that we have available to outside users, and also recognizing that we need to preserve it for the schools for time to come. So I know you guys have had it. I don't know if there are any questions for it. We again sent out to the third-party users a letter just letting them know that it would be on the agenda tonight. We continue to get sort of like questions in every once in a while that we're able to respond to by email. But I'm glad that we're getting this done before the end of the school year.
Yeah, and I'd like to note that when we met with all the user groups, or if they just sent us letters, none of them said we will not pay. They all said we can afford to pay this much, or we can afford to pay that much, and really wanted to work with us to make sure that our costs were covered and that they could continue to offer the programs that they've been offering to the Westfield community for, in some cases, decades.
Right, agreed.
And just the other policies that we're bringing for first reading they're not really substantive updates, but they're massive reorganizations of existing policies. So that's why they're up for first reading, and a lot of red lines, but nothing really major has changed with the way that we're calculating grade point averages, other than the way that a change to comply with state law.
I think we clarified in a couple, some of the policies weren't clear, so we tried to make them clear. I know the use of physical restraints and seclusion techniques is a new mandated policy, and we've had staff training in that, so.
It was training that our staff has had before, but now there's a state law that says we have to have a policy to go along with it.
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Dana?
Lynn Benner,
Yes.
Mike Phelan,
Yes.
Kent Nyman,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Robert Garrison,
Yes.
Gretchen Olig,
Yes.
Peggy Oster,
Yes.
Amy Root.
Yes.
All right, I ask the board to approve policy item number 2.
Second.
Thank you, Kent. We're going to abolish policy 5465, early graduation, and 5466, graduation and yearbook fees. Both of the substance of both policies is now in our high school graduation policy. We didn't see the need to duplicate. Any other questions?
No.
All right, Dana?
Lynn Benner,
Yes.
Mike Phelan,
Yes.
Kent Nyman,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan.
Yes.
Robert Garrison,
Yes.
Gretchen Olig.
Yes.
Peggy Oster,
Yes.
Amy Root.
Yes.
Thank you. I ask the board to approve policy item number 3.
Second.
Thank you, Kent. This is the 2016-2017 district school safety assessment report for determining grades under the anti-bullying Bill of Rights.
We're gonna, I think Dr.
I
Dahl's
could
gonna
speak to that
present.
just a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, first of all, just to be clear, it's not a misprint, it intentionally says 2016-17. One of the requirements under the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights is that by August, after a school year, each school has to work with their team, and they have to review certain requirements of the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights and provide a self-assessment. Now, in a minute, you're going to see the results of the self-assessment. It might look familiar because the first requirement is in August, I present to you what the self-assessments are and do a fuller presentation. And then we have to, after that meeting, I have to submit that to the State Department of Education, which we did in September. And we just heard back last week that it's acceptable, so I should present it again. And then tomorrow it will be posted on the district website and all of the school websites. So that's the process that's in place according to the state. So just to explain it a bit, each school team has to self-assess themselves and provide a score on topics such as when harassment, intimidation, or bullying is reported, are the processes followed? There are very strict timelines, for example, and they have to go back and check and make sure that all the timelines that are required are in fact being followed. We have to make sure that we have an appropriate person who is designated in a school building who, in addition to their other duties, is also an anti-bullying specialist. And we also have to make sure those people receive training every year. We have to take a look at our curriculum and make sure in various areas that our students are receiving instruction that will help them identify what is harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and steps to take if that in fact is being observed. We have to make sure that our staff is being trained. We have to make sure, we have to talk about the programs that we have in place in the schools, for example, character education, so that we present our students with programs where they can understand the appropriate ways to treat people, not the inappropriate ways. So all of those categories have various numbers where you can provide the self-assessments, and then in the end, all of that is tallied. And you will see on this screen, this is just a comparison from year to year to year for each of our schools. And you'll see that there are changes. Honestly, if I were looking at schools where there were no changes from year to year, I would be concerned they weren't taking it seriously enough. Each one of these categories should be reviewed, and then the next year, an area where they might not have done as well should be an area of focus. It's not something that's static. It needs to be worked on constantly. The next slide shows the district grade. Honestly, the district grade is an average of the scores in the 10 schools. And as you can see, it does not vary much. Once varies among the scores for a school, but not so much across the district. One of the most important parts of this presentation is the next slide, which lists our anti-bullying specialists. So in every school there is at least one. In the high school there are 2. So this is a key person who has received additional training, understanding harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and appropriate appropriate ways to address that. If anyone has a concern, be that a student or a parent, a staff member, these are good people to reach out to. But the other fact is, if any child or parent is afraid or thinks that they're being intimidated or bullied or harassed, they also can go to any staff member in the building. All of our staff members receive training and will assist anyone if they have concerns. This is something we take very seriously, and we took it seriously in 2016-17. We've taken it seriously in 2017-18, and we would certainly do that going forward as well. Any questions?
Dana, do we need to vote on that?
I believe so.
Okay.
We just moved it and seconded it, so I think so. Lynn Benner?
Yes.
Mike Beelan?
Yes.
Ken Diamond?
Yes.
Brendan Galligan?
Yes.
Robert Garrison?
Yes.
Gretchen Oleg?
Yes.
Peggy Oster?
Yes.
Amy Root?
Yes.
And lastly, ask the board to approve policy item number 4.
Second.
Thank you, Ken. PIB incident 18MC01, 18F01, and 18E06 for the reasons set forth there. Dana?
Lynn Benner?
Yes.
Mike Beelan?
Yes.
Ken Diamond?
Yes.
Brendan Galligan?
Yes.
Robert Garrison?
Yes.
Gretchen Oleg?
Yes.
Peggy Oster?
Yes.
Amy Root?
Yes.
That's it for policies?
Great. Curriculum, Michael.
Yes, we had our last curriculum meeting on May 24th and covered quite a bit. We covered elementary science. We talked about the third grade up the ladder program, excuse me, our geometry advanced programs, and our 6th, 7th, and 8th world languages, as well as field trips. Just going to some of the specifics. As far as elementary science, we're implementing a new program based on the Formed Science Committee, the Full Option Science System called FOSS. And what the advantages of this is, it really provides a hands-on type of approach when you're looking at science, and the program reaches a lot of different levels of the students that are using this new curriculum. They're teaching learning through failing. So for example, when you grow beans, some beans will grow and other beans will not grow. So they're seeing why does that happen or why does it not happen. And students are able to share information with each other going forward. So a really interesting curriculum on what the supervisor, Tom Patterson, had presented. And but in kindergarten, we aren't going to use FOSS. We're going to stay with our mystery science program because it's better aligned with our half-day program. As far as the third grade, we're piloting a program called Up the Ladder, and it was actually developed by a Westfield student who developed this program. It's based on a program called Crazy Eights, and it's for third graders to introduce or reinforce a particular topic. It's a 5 to 10 minute activity, so it's not like a whole class that they're doing. It's just when they have some fill-in time that they need to go and introduce a new concept, they can fit it within their flex days. And they want the kids to leave the activity and understand a math concept in that 5 to 10 minute period, and make kids not afraid of math. And then finally, we also covered geometry advanced, and geometry honors. Essentially, it's the same core curriculum that we're currently offering. Algebra 2 and Pre-Calc are teaching a revised structure with geometry focusing on updated probability. And the course is the same what we've been teaching. And the one difference is geometry honors just provides a more in-depth look at the content. For foreign languages, we're now looking at theming between the different foreign languages, where we align language functions to a particular theme that's being presented. And we're going to, these programs are being introduced at the high school. And finally, which we're going to approve tonight, is just the different field trips that the bands are going to be off for overnight field trips coming for next year. Our next meeting afterwards will be on this coming Thursday, June 14th. So I asked the board to approve for the overnight field trips for the band, and then approve for first reading the geometry honors, and advanced placement geometry programs, the elementary science program, and world language courses for grades 6, 7, and 8. Have a second?
Second.
Dana?
Lynn Benner?
Yes.
Mike Phelan?
Yes.
Ken Diamond?
Yes.
Brendan Galligan?
Yes.
Robert Garrison?
Yes.
Gretchen Oleg?
Yes.
Peggy Oster?
Yes.
Amy Root?
Yes.
Thank you. Finance. In Charles's absence, I would like to ask the board to consider finance items 1 through 26. Can I have a second, please? Amy, thank you. I would like to acknowledge a gift of 2 standing desks from DonorsChoose.org valued at $374.95 for Roosevelt Intermediate School. Thank you for that. I think it would be great if we could have lots of standing desks. I know the intermediate school teachers would probably hate me for saying that, but it might actually be a good thing. Does anybody have any questions on finance items? Dana? Yeah.
I just had one comment. I spoke with Dana earlier, and I thank her for her willingness. With the change order, one thing through President Oldie, if you would be okay with it, is anytime in the future with change orders on the construction project, if we can get the original amount and the new amount, that's part of this change order, because sometimes we approve these projects a couple of years in advance. And
Right.
be good to know and give us a little update in terms of where we are with that.
Very good. Dana, that's doable, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Any other questions? Dana?
Lynn Benner?
Yes.
Mike Phelan?
Yes.
Ken Diamond?
Yes.
Brendan Galligan?
Yes.
Rob Garrison?
Yes.
Gretchen Oleg?
Yes.
Peggy Oster?
Yes.
Amy Root?
Yes.
Technology. Actually, Dana, is there a finance committee on the agenda?
No.
Okay. Technology.
Okay, so we had I guess it's our last technology meeting on Friday, June 8th, right day? And we were fortunate enough to be joined by Brian Ocker and Paul Panera, but also Janine Gotko and Adam Peasy, who are both our master tech teachers. Adam for the high school and Janine for grades K through 8. And they came to give us a summary of the development and technology professional training that went on during this past year to let us know where we are up to date and the things that they've done. And it started back with a summer technology institute where they had 60 teachers attend. They attended the New Staff Institute to train our new teachers in use of our systems. We worked to pick the new website, Edlio. And professional development goes on not just over the summer, not just for new staff, but all year long for all of our teachers. And Mr. Peasy pointed out that he does a lot of his training after school. He also, both he and Ms. Gotko have websites where they put podcasts up so that teachers can self-train on their own schedule and so forth. They do things that they find interesting. They also do things that have been asked for by other teachers and so forth. So it's a constant tool that they have available to them if they have questions in reference to the Google Suites, and so forth. The other highlight was that we did put into place a one-to-one initiative with Chromebooks for all social studies classes. So they worked hard to get each of those classes up to date, and they get the Chromebooks set up for use within K through 12 for social studies. So they both had that project going on in their classrooms. Some interesting projects that Mr. Peasy brought up is that he works with some students on student digital portfolios, where if you have kids who are applying for college and so forth, some of the colleges are asking for digital things, so they do projects. He showed us a project where he asked his students to talk to somebody about being in the Vietnam War and do a one-on-one sort of,
It was like a podcast.
like a podcast with somebody, and you're able to save that, put it on digital, put it in your digital student portfolio, and begin to collect this stuff. So he wants to be able to start it sort of in middle school and take it all the way through high school. So you basically have this portfolio for your whole time at the Westfield school system, but also, you know, whatever you would want to pick and choose to put together if you needed it for a college project and so forth. And he continues to work with students and teachers to be able to do that in their own special subject. So if it's not social studies, if they have something else in a language, also it would be great for art to be able to tape some of your art projects and so forth that have been brought forth and so forth. So both he and Janine continue to work on a daily basis. As I said, Adam does a lot of one-on-one training after school. Janine works with the teachers in the elementary school in their off periods and so forth when they have questions. She also works with training the ITS, which I believe, and Paul can correct me, is it individual technicals?
Instructional technology specialists.
Instructional technology specialists, which are in all of our elementary schools. So it was great to hear all the things that they work on and continue to work on, and that there is such a resource for our teachers as we change systems, you know, to support them and be able to, you know, have new things and so forth. So, and they're there, I'm gonna say 24/7, so. Also, we talked about the new website, which I'm sure is what everybody is, you know, very concerned about. We had a date of June 1st to get back the preliminary website from the company we chose, Edlio, and I will say June 1st happened. So we did get a sandbox website back from Edlio. The first thing that our teachers and Brian Ocker and his whole staff can work on to develop, to go to the next step to create the website. As of July 1st, the website will be up, but under construction. It won't be fully operational as of July 1st, but we will be working at that point in time to change the website, and so that new website will be up with an under construction sort of scenario so that they can continue to make it operational for the August 1st deadline, where we'll have the new website up and running and so forth. So we're on schedule, and I think that's great.
It's wonderful.
Peggy, when you say that the new website will be under construction, we're not taking down the existing website for the district for a month, correct?
We are.
Yeah, we're taking down the existing website, but there will be some links that are required, such as like registration for a new school year.
That's what I was.
So those common links that are needed, contact us, things such as that will be available. Just a very small subset of content will be available. And then, so that'll go up July 1st, and then throughout July, they will be getting the new website ready for an August 1st launch.
Great. Thank you.
And I think we're done for the year, too.
Okay, I'd ask the board to note the notes for the record. I'd like to just particularly call out the first note, which is that in compliance with our policy, we had the annual review of our conduct, our code of conduct policy with members from the community, students, administrators, and there were no changes recommended this year. So I just want to make note that review did happen, and that everybody seemed pleased with where we are with the code of conduct this year. So
The same with our open lunch policy and graduation.
yes, thank you, Brendan. Do we have any unfinished business? Any new business? Any liaison reports? Amy?
With the library, there was a proposal to go and charge tutors at the library $10 each day that they were going to go and tutor at the library. Well, we first met with the acquisitions committee and the head librarians from all the various departments, and they weren't for the option because it's very unenforceable. How do you know whether it's a parent or child or a brother and sister or anything like that? So then we brought it back to the main library board committee, had a discussion, and because this would impact both teachers and students that are tutoring, and the decision was made there will be no tutoring fee implemented at the library, and another new policy is being developed that will specifically formalize it, where the library will not get involved in any tutoring. There really hasn't been an issue with any of the tutors using the library, but they wanted to just get it formally down, and it was originally proposed as someone suggested it, but it's not going to happen. And, go ahead.
What was the genesis? Was there, so it's not because in reaction to an issue, it just was?
What brought it up was to try to generate new revenue streams, and I actually did research into different different libraries that tried to implement it, and there was a library in Illinois, and once they implemented it, it got great pushback from the community, and they ended up went to other places, like a donut shop or a coffee shop. It was a laundromat that opened up and said, you can come here and study or tutor and things like that. It just didn't work. And so it was the intention was to potentially generate some revenue for the library, but it just wasn't really gonna work. So and just as an aside, there was also a story a couple months ago about a grandmother that brought her granddaughter in who lived out of district to the library. That also, there is available, if you're out of district and you want to use the Westfield Library, there is a card that you can pay for, you have to pay for it, and so if you want to attend various programs, as long as you have that card, children can attend that program. So if like a grandmother has cousins or whatever that want to come and use the library, during the year they're able to purchase that pass and use that. So we made some minor language changes, but that is available, just a lot of people aren't aware of it.
Great, thank you. Amy?
Yep, just two things. One was last Thursday I was at Roosevelt, and we got to meet their new officers for next year, which is always fun, up there, PTSO. Saw Mrs. Esfendis, who is here tonight, of course. They've been pretty busy over there, as most schools are at the end of the year, with different events. They had their 8th grade semi-formal last week. They have a field day planned for Friday. Always watching the weather, of course. That's a new program that they started last year, where they have kids on teams from the different grades, and then the 8th graders, as they sort of roll off, new 6th graders will come take their place. So kids are kind of grouped in an unusual way, but they'll see each other year after year, and the hope is that it kind of creates a little bit more kind of community feeling up among the grades at the school, which is a neat idea. And then the other meeting I was at recently was the Parent-Teacher Council meeting. Also has new officers for next year, and a revolutionary change which needs to be shared with the public, which is that they are moving their monthly meetings from Thursdays, where they have been for years, they'll now be on Wednesdays in the morning. So general public, if you would like to come, because you can. They're typically the third Wednesday now of the month, but the schedule is on the district website. If Wednesdays work better for you, you should come, because the general meetings are open and they're really informative. They're attended by representatives from all 10 schools, and you learn a lot about how things happen across town. So I would encourage people to check it out.
Thank you.
That's it.
The last Tamacras PTO meeting's tomorrow morning, but I did want to point out that a few weeks back they organized a charity volleyball game with the teachers versus the parents, which was well attended, it was well run, it was a lot of fun. But the goal was to raise money for the neighborhood council. They needed a new roof, so they raised $3,400 towards the purchase of a new roof. It didn't cover all the costs, but they were very appreciative. So I just want to say what a great night that was.
Very good. Any other? I'm sorry. Yes.
So actually earlier today, the president and I were some of the people who attended the Rotary's annual scholarship luncheon. This is a long tradition that the Westfield Rotary provides scholarships for students graduating, students who live in Westfield who are graduating. And this year they awarded almost $100,000 in scholarships, which is just incredible. They work hard, and they also have some people who left money in their will, and that's well invested, and it really helps a number of students who are in town. They did a wonderful job today, and it's so inspiring to hear the stories of the students who are graduating and what their plans are and what they've already accomplished at their young ages. So it was a lovely event.
Yeah, and there was a really neat moment that someone who'd received a scholarship last year came back, and I'm not going to remember her name, but and spoke to the graduates from this year and talked about what the scholarship had meant for her, and also just sort of words of encouragement for the graduating seniors. And I thought it was great. I mean, it's just a very nice program. So yeah, it was good stuff. And I also went to the Westfield High School PTSO meeting, and they also had new officers. And, you know, they always have lots of ideas about ways to partner with the district. But one of the things that I think we are going to move forward and to come to the board at the next meeting is they are going to split the cost of renovating the foyer at outside the Westfield High School auditorium. I don't know if you, it's like a dark wood stain paneling. It's not really paneling, but wood sheets, and it's a little bit banged up. So they very generously have offered to pay for half of the cost of that. We'll vote on it next week. If you're all in agreement, then that's a project that they're helping us undertake. Any other liaison reports? No? All right, then at this point I'll recognize any members of the public for questions, comments. No, seeing no one come to the podium, I would ask the board to approve the following resolution. Resolved that the Board of Education moves into private session for the purpose of discussing matters rendered confidential by state and federal law, personnel, the superintendent's evaluation, and harassment, intimidation, and bullying incidents. And be it further resolved that any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential, and the results of the discussions will be made public as soon as practicable. Do I have a second?
Yep.
Kent, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are in private session, 8:25. Thank you.